Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time!
Three on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayla's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you here on this Wednesday in November. Glad to have you along, no matter where or how you're listening. It's whether on one of our great radio station affiliates like 97.7 ESPN, the Ref, always the right call in Evansville, up in the region, on the voice of the region, 12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM WJOB, and in Fort Wayne on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Keep it locked right there where you got it. And might as well go ahead and announce it now. Big news coming for Indiana Sports Beat Radio as we'll add a fourth affiliate right here in Bloomington, Indiana. There you go. News is out. Well, Indiana Sports Beat Radio will be coming to you from Bloomington, where we've been doing the show for 8 years. But appreciate everybody. And no matter where, like I said, and if you're on social media, which we have a lot of you are, I know, whether you're following on YouTube or whatever, please hit the subscribe and like button, especially if you're on YouTube. Hit the subscribe and like button. It really helps the show. It helps get it out there. And it's just a great benefit. And we appreciate it. It takes nothing. It takes 2 seconds. So please do that. Glad to have you along. And a lot of people keep asking me for wear the hat. I like the hat. I'm gonna have some hats in for you to you can get if you'd like. But also I'm gonna have some other stuff too. Jackets, Adidas jackets that are coming in. You're gonna love those. But you hear me talk about the Hoosier.com a lot, and it is the go-to site for information regarding IU athletics, especially inside information and whatnot. And if you go to the Hoosier.com between now and the end of November, you'll be in for a drawing for one of these gorgeous embroidered Adidas, the Hoosier.com on 3. See, this one's a zip-up jacket. There are quarter zip jackets. There are all kinds of nice things, but you'll be in the drawing for one of those. You just have to send me, if you subscribe, send me an email so I know to put you in the drawing. All right. Trust me, this pays for the entire year alone of that. Basketball last night, as I know Purdue was in action. Most teams, and I was kind of thinking about this. All right, who are our basketball teams playing right now? They're not playing these knockdown, drag out games, right? Who are they playing? They're all playing mostly. Now there are a few that do get scheduled. I'll grant you that, but for the most part, Purdue beat Evansville last night, 82-51. Kentucky beat Nichols. Nichols? Yes, Nichols. I've never heard of them. 77-51. Now, they'll beat teams during the regular season by that score. It just shows you that while they're just completely overmatched, they're not where they're going to be. Stanford gets by Portland State 89-79. Florida State took on Alcorn State. Texas Tech, Lindenwood. UT Martin knocked off UNLV. How about them apples? But my point being is there's so much made of in college football of pre-conference schedules. Does it really matter? I don't think so. We'll talk a little bit more about that. College football playoff poll out last night. Indiana lands at number 2 in the first one. Not a big shocker. But they're because, like I said, there are things that are coming up that they'll let take care of itself. But let's see, any other college basketball scores? Yeah, there had to be more than that. Maybe not. Oh, that's the top 25. Yeah. Plenty more rather. Just trying to see if there was South Carolina, North Carolina, A&T. No one gives these guys grief for playing these easy schedules. That's what I don't understand. That's what football does. You get those for forever. They've used those non-con games to kind of get up to speed, so to speak. And someone asked that specifically last night in the post after the college football playoff poll was announced. There's a teleconference for reporters, and someone asked about specifically Indiana's schedule. We'll talk about that, like I said. Let's see. I'm looking for any other big name teams that got after it last night. Tons of games. I mean, I cannot even begin to count the number of basketball games that happened last night. Oregon beat Hawaii 60-59. So Hawaii travels to the mainland, baby, and almost steals one against the Ducks. Well, it's here and it's underway. And more games coming at you. Let's see. Today is what? November 5th. There's a ton more games today. Of course, Indiana plays this evening. They take on Alabama A&M to open their season. That's at 8 p.m. on BTN. Indiana is currently listed as a 27.5-point favorite in this game. It's amazing to me that they can put up a line without having much of an idea about the teams. Purdue's opener, by the way, though, they were without starting forward Trey Kaufman-Wren. He had a hip injury. It was announced just before tip-off that he would not dress. He is the Boilermakers' leading scorer and rebounder from last season, averaging 20 points, 6.5 rebounds. He's expected to play a much bigger role on an experienced Purdue team who's currently ranked number 1 and was given the onus of the expectation of winning the national championship. Sorry, but I don't see it. I do not see, and remember this, I've said it all year, I've said it before the season, I do not see Purdue winning the Big Ten. Michigan will win the Big Ten. Michigan will go much deeper into the NCAA than Purdue. Purdue might finish second in the Big Ten. I don't know what the rest has. I don't know what UCLA's like. I don't know what Michigan State's going to be like. But Michigan is the guy. Without question. The guy. You know what I'm saying. They're going to make it happen in the Big Ten. Dusty May has just done a phenomenal job from the word go since he landed in Michigan. It's and it's not going to stop. He's doing a tremendous job. And I expected no less. He is just he's and how he goes about business. He's like Kurt Sigdetti, I think. It's all about getting it done, doing the right things, making sure that everything is done consistently, day in and day out. But look at the recruiting effort he's been able to pull in. I mean, look at the team he was able to put together in his first season at Michigan. Bam, he brought that together. And now, in his second year, man, it's lights out. I think I don't think it's going to be close as far as Purdue winning, as far as Michigan winning the league. In my opinion, I just think they're that strong. But we'll find out, man. It's just like football. You don't know who has what. There are very few teams. Purdue is one of those oddities where you do know because they've had the same guys for so long with some additions. But AJ DeBanza, the much ballied freshman, he scored 21 in his debut for BYU. He's regarded as one of the nation's top freshmen. He already had a pretty good idea of the energy basketball fans in Las Vegas provided as he provided for his college debut. It was over the summer when DeBanza sat in the front row near center court to see the Las Vegas Aces and felt the vibe at Michelob Ultra Arena inside Mandalay Bay during what turned out to be the team's third WNBA championship in 4 years. Well, DeBanza created his own electricity up the street Monday night in front of more than 16,000 fans at T-Mobile Arena. So I saw him play last year down at Montverde, and you could tell he was a man amongst boys then. He had too much showboat in him for me, which I'm sure the college will take away a little bit. But yeah, he has a lot of talent. Probably going to be a one and done. We'll see. But he definitely has the talent. And what is it with BYU? I've asked this before. Where the Mormons been sacking up money, baby, waiting for NIL because they're doing it. They're absolutely doing it. Yeah, it's a little surprising, to be honest with you. It's a lot surprising. Who am I kidding? It's a lot surprising. But that's the great thing about college athletics today. is seeing all of these different teams do so well. Yeah, BYU's got big hotel money, Russell says. Yep, Coyle Pete leads Coyle Pete led Arizona past reigning national champion Florida. Feeling a bit neglected in Switzerland while playing for the USA 19 and under team, the three-time Arizona Gatorade Player of the Year said he was going to remind people that he was one of the best incoming freshmen, despite not playing in the McDonald's All-American Game Hoop Summit. I feel like I've been kind of forgotten, Pete said during the earlier interviews with Hoops HQ. Why do you care about if you're forgotten or not? I don't get this. Why are you paying attention to that? Why are you not just playing your game? Doesn't mean I see when you've got athletes like this saying stuff like this, they're already paying attention to outside things as opposed to what they're focusing on, what they're supposed to be focusing on. Themselves, but getting better, their team, their teammates. This is a me. Oh, me. I feel like I've been forgotten. Who cares? Do your job and you're not forgotten. But running your mouth doesn't do it. Just do what you're supposed to do and shut up. Yeah, this is feeling a bit neglected. I feel like I've been forgotten. It's the beginning of the season, you jackass. You're a freshman. Crazy. 18-year-old. He scored he led all scores with 30 points and 7 rebounds and 5 assists. Become the second Big Ten freshman to debut with 30 or more points, joining Kansas State's Michael Beasley, who had 32 in his debut back in 2007. You've got the talent. Just play, man. Just play your game. I just don't want to hear 18-year-olds mouthing like that. It just hits me the wrong way. But that's just me. And who cares, right? But you're going to have that. You're going to have that. Kelvin Sampson won his 800th game. And I'm sure it's one he'll remember fondly as they beat Lehigh. Houston beats Lehigh 75-57. Right now, Houston number 2 in the country. He's 800 and 354, including 384 since taking over the Cougars in 2014. Oh, he had a nice run at Indiana. Didn't end well, but had a good record. Adds to it. But Houston's been on the clock for a while, man. They've been up there, but they just can't get to the top. Something completely different. Kalshi, a company that offers prediction markets on college basketball and football, the NCAA sent them a letter expressing its concerns about the company's commitment to contest integrity and the protection of contest participants, according to a copy obtained by ESPN. In the letter dated October 30th, NCAA Chief Legal Officer Scott Beerby asked Kalshi how it monitors collegiate sports markets for integrity concerns and activity by prohibited customers, who it considers a prohibited customer, whether it will report integrity concerns to the NCAA and whether the company will cooperate with NCAA investigations. How? The NCAA also asked Kalshi if Kalshi would ban prediction markets similar to prop bets, which the company began offering this fall. So little cross, they're cross with each other at the moment. The NCAA also asked Kalshi in the letter to review language on its website that the NCAA says implies a relationship between them. Kalshi has robust market integrity provisions required by our status as a federally licensed financial exchange. They value the NCAA's feedback and are working on adjusting the language on our site and are currently reviewing and addressing their additional request. What exactly is this? Prediction markets like Kalshi have emerged over the past year and are competing with traditional sports books in the betting market. Kalshi is battling multiple lawsuits by state gambling regulators who allege that the company is violating state laws by offering event contracts that mimic sports bets. Kalshi agrees that it does not fall under state jurisdiction and is instead regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, a federal agency says. I think I understand this. I met someone not too long ago, very smart individual, a student, no less. If you're going to believe this, I need to take a quick break before I get into this story. But I'll do it as soon as we get back. Hey, I appreciate everybody being with us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Keep it locked where you got it on your radio stations. We're only going to be gone for 2 minutes. We're right back. Great to have you on this Wednesday. Back with more after this.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. Glad to have you. I was getting ready to tell a story about, please tell me I didn't forget. But whatever it was I was looking at, I ran into I was at a dinner with a bunch of Kelly School kids, and this particular one was not in the Kelly School, but we just got talking about betting a little bit, and he started talking about something that he was managing that was contract oriented, and I really didn't understand it, but it was betting, but it's contracts, and it's exactly what this is, apparently. And apparently he's managing upwards of $5 million in this. And I was just astounded. This is a student, people, that is managing $5 million under this. So it's some form of betting is what it is. In March, Kalshi announced a partnership with IC360, an integrity monitor used by many collegiate and professional leagues. The NCAA has faced an increasing number of alleged betting violations by players in recent years. In September, the NCAA announced that a Fresno State men's basketball player had manipulated his performance for gambling purposes and conspired with two other players in a prop bet scheme. In total, the association has opened investigations into potential betting violations by approximately 30 current and former men's basketball players. So we'll keep eyes on that. It's going to be an issue, but I think that the more it is seen that you're going to get caught happens, that will happen less and less, I will think. But yeah, I'm still interested. I've got to learn more about this. This call sheet type of thing. Prediction markets. It's called prediction markets. It's betting, but crazy. How about that IU volleyball team? I got to mention them and Steve Aird. Ranked number 24 right now. They've already gone out on the West Coast and swept UCLA and USC. Well, now they went to Penn State, one of the dominant programs in all of volleyball, swept Penn State for the first time in IU volleyball program history in 52 years and 32 attempts to win at Penn State. They get it done. Congratulations, Steve, and the rest of your team, your coaching staff. The NFL trade deadline saw the Colts get in some action. Two number one picks for Sauce Gardner, adding depth to their defensive secondary. And so instead of becoming a player development team, the Colts, they want it now. They feel like they have the pieces in place to do it, to go forward. Sauce Gardner's only been in the league, I think, 4 years. So already a two-time Pro Bowler. Sounds like a pretty good trade. Just getting better now. That this is a team that has legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. And it is legit, people. I was going to download our friend Kurt Signetti, and we haven't I don't think we've heard from him for the post for the pre-Penn State information. Now there's a lot of injury updates. I think everyone's going to be fine. Drew Evans is not going to play this week for the Hoosiers. I shouldn't say I expect. Elijah Surratt and Aiden Fisher, two key players. The thing is, you only bring them back if they're 100% healthy, because you have to have them going down. Yeah, Brian pointing out Sauce Gardner's in his 4th season. As I said, he was on the Defensive Rookie of the Year team in 2022. They got a good one. I mean, good pickup. Yeah, I think that Ballard is probably, Jason said that he thinks that Ballard will stay. Yeah. I think so. They're trending in the right direction. Not very few teams fire their GM when you're having a Super Bowl-esque season. And that's what the Colts are having. Maybe there were other things that we don't know going on behind the scenes. That, as far as Chris Ballard. So I'm not going to say, I don't know. We never know. Maybe Jim Irsay was involving himself. But Mike pointing out that the IU women's game is on YouTube. He watched it early this morning. I'll tell you what's not on YouTube. The damn college football playoff poll last night. I have YouTube TV as well. Didn't watch it live, but I pretty much knew how it was going to go. And we'll wait for, this week, I've said this over and over. This week's game for Indiana is not only of great importance because of getting the win and needing to beat a team that's winless in the Big Ten. That stuff matters greatly. I mean, I get that this is still a tough ask, but you can't go lose to a team that lost to UCLA, that lost to Northwestern at home, that hasn't won a conference game. Just can't. They're looking for a reason to dock Indiana, I promise you. And Indiana's not giving it to them. But what if they go to Penn State and beat the Nittany Lions worse at home than they lost to Ohio State on the road? What will that bring? I cannot wait to see, and I hope it happens. I certainly hope it happens because it will bring more intrigue to the CFP. Last night was the first of, like 6, I think. Not a lot of drama, as Ohio State listed at number 1, Indiana number 2. Like I said, Texas A&M undefeated, SEC number 3, Alabama number 4, Georgia 5. Exactly like the AP poll. Now, where we have some difference, starting number 6, you had Ole Miss, then BYU, then Texas Tech, then Oregon. Oregon number 6 in the AP poll, which means they're already in dangerous territory. They cannot afford to lose another game, or that would probably knock Oregon out. Oregon's got to win out. if they're already ninth. But BYU's undefeated. You have to put them there, I guess. Ole Miss is not. Currently, the first round matchups, this will change. It doesn't matter. I don't know why we do this. Would list number 12 Memphis from the group of 5. See, now here's where I have a problem, and people can say all that they want, but I'm sorry. I don't believe in giving the group of 5 an automatic spot. This should simply be the 12 best teams, period. And if you're not in that group, I'm sorry. Being the best of the worst does not mean squat to me. I want to see the 12 best teams in, period. Why are you forcing to shoehorn teams in? Anyway, Virginia at number 11 would travel to Ole Miss. Memphis would go to Georgia. Notre Dame in at number 10, no surprise, but they would travel to Texas Tech. And the current buys, of course, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama. And to be honest with you, I don't expect that to change for the remainder of the season, with the exception of who's in the number 1 and the number 2 slots. Because the winner of the Big Ten championship will be number 1. The loser will be number 3. So that could change to Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama. That's number 4. Probably going to the SEC title game. We don't know yet. But the winner of that game will go to number 2. The loser will remain at number 4. That's my thought. Ole Miss playing the Citadel this weekend in Florida, Jason points out. Yeah. SEC can play all the Putz teams they want, and nothing is said about it. It's funny. Oh, anyway, I'll tell you what. I've got to find the last night on the after the CFP poll, there is a teleconference of reporters that is provided. And there are many, many questions. The first question, just wondering what the debate was like as far as number 1 and what tilted things in Ohio State's favor over Indiana and A&M. Mac Rhodes, who is, just so you know, who is Mac Rhodes? He is the College Football Playoff Chairman Selection Committee Chair. All right. So anyway, getting back to that question, Max says, "Good evening. I certainly appreciate the question." I love when they say that. There was robust discussion about 1 through 3, all 3 of them undefeated. Thank you for that information. Certainly great conversation and discussion about Ohio State and Indiana. 2 really, really quality teams. 2 teams with really, really good wins. He likes to double dip his words. Ohio State versus number 11 Texas. Okay, now I notice here they listed what Texas is currently ranked. Ohio State versus number 11 in Texas and a win over number 23 Washington. I believe that's what Washington is currently ranked. Indiana, number 9 Oregon. I think that's what they were ranked because they're currently number 6. Well, no, number 9 Oregon in their poll. That's okay. Now I get it. Indiana, number 9 Oregon, number 20 Iowa. Iowa coming in at number 20 in the deal. Both defenses, both offenses ranked in the top 5. So it was certainly close, but when we looked at film, and we're blessed to have committee members and coaches that do a lot of film work, we just felt like Ohio State had a slight edge when we think about offensive line play and then a slight edge defensively. That was really the outcome. Ohio State has some, I'm going to call them explosive players that probably stood out as well. Wow. That's your committee chair basically saying that Ohio State is the best team, period, by watching them. So they're going to have to lose. I'm not sure that it matters what Indiana does to Penn State. I think it'd get more attention, but knowing that these two teams are likely to play in the Big Ten championship, they're not going to change anything. They don't need to because they know it will take care of itself. I get it. It's just how it's going to be. There was another question. I think it was toward the bottom. Let's see. Non-leagues. Here we go. As you guys are discussing these teams, as you mentioned the discussion at the top of the poll, when you talked about those 3 teams, did you talk about non-league scheduling and the fact that 2 of those teams challenged themselves, and of course, Indiana didn't? I'd like to know who asked that question, just by the way it was phrased. Mac Rhodes' response? Yeah, the schedule is the schedule. We don't talk about scheduling philosophy and how any team scheduled. We just look at hey, this is who they have on the schedule. This is the outcome of those games. Then looking at all the metrics at our disposal. So basically, no, shut up. They don't care about Indiana's pre-conference scheduling. What is the difference if Indiana could have played any Joe Schmo from the bottom of the Big 12 or the ACC, and so nothing would be said? They could play a team from the ACC that is not as good as Old Dominion, and nothing would be said. Who cares? This idiot, he does realize this is a team that went out to Oregon and beat a team that hadn't been beaten since 2022 on their home field. A team that played in the Big Ten championship last year. It's just, people got to get over themselves. That's obviously, I'm thinking, a team that's either from an SEC reporter or someone covering a team that is not in, period. Whining, baby. Whining. Why you got to whine? Want some cheese with that wine? But those are some of the questions that were presented after last night's college football playoff poll, I should say. And again, Indiana will not be hosting a game. The only way Indiana will host a game is this if they fall in the rankings below the top 4, which, yeah, hosting a game is nice, but getting a bye is also nice. It puts you directly into the quarterfinals. Now, where they will play, that's yet to be determined, because the winner of the Big Ten championship heading to the Rose Bowl. And if I had to guess, I would say the loser of the Big Ten championship maybe headed to the Cotton Bowl. It should be. I think it's based on proximity. And I believe it would be the Cotton Bowl. Devil says the bye teams went 0-4 last year. Is that accurate? Ohio State wasn't a bye team, that's for certain. So, Bill thinks the quarterfinal games should be home games. You're not the only one that thinks that. Some people think that all of these games, with the exception of the championship game and maybe the semifinals, should be home games. They are in the NFL, but I'll tell you exactly why they're not right now. The NCAA, or not the NCAA, but college football. That's mind-boggling that's a crazy stat. That is a crazy stat. Bye teams went 0-4 last year. Wow. Thank you for that. Devil D. Yeah. Man, that gives you pause for thinking. And it is having, see, you get that time off where the other teams, they're playing on the 19th and the 21st of December, which is what, a 2-week break after your any conference championship. And a lot of those teams are playing in conference championships. So they've been off for a while, but they get to play. And then the second time they play, though, they're already back in game mode. Maybe it's better to host a game, to be in that first round. Great stat, man. That'll stay in my mind. That will stay in my mind. I think that this year's teams are a little different, but yeah, getting back to Fred pointing out that the traditional bowl games are big dollars for communities and things like that. This is the effort of keeping those big events alive, because they're pretty big events. The Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl. Those Big Six events. And I guess they don't necessarily have to be called the bowl, but having them on that location, the thing is, that will cause your fans to travel 3 times. Now, if you don't host a game, you travel 4 times. That's a lot to ask of people. Let's be honest. So another reason why having home games for the quarterfinals is a good idea. And if you want to use the bowl games for the semifinals and just rotate them each year, there's 3 that get to be used this year. The other 3 get to be used next year, and use those other 3 for other games. It just won't be as enticing. I don't know, but we shall see. But having a bye game, yeah, I don't know if that's better or not. What do you do? Hey, I'm going to take a quick break. Appreciate you being with us. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star is going to join us. We're back with more after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. Glad to have you along. Looking forward. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star join us here in a little bit. Now, it's double dip season. Kyle, I was just talking about it. It's becoming double dip season for everybody. Crossover season is the favorite name for it, as football, basketball going full tilt right now. And man, is it ever. You've got high school action that is going. We've got college action that is going. And it is just nonstop. And it will be wall to wall as we get going. Indiana kicking things off tonight with Alabama A&M. And then on Sunday, they travel to Chicago to take on Marquette. And the high schools football deep into playoffs right now. Kyle, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Not sure what's going on with my camera this morning, but we can proceed. Yeah, it's going well. So it's fun to see the start of college basketball and seeing some familiar names from guys I've covered over the years start their season this week, and it won't be long before we get to the high school season too. So yeah, we're getting there.
Any names that had a good debut?
I mean, noticeable definitely with Jack Benner, who didn't play last year, obviously, but definitely curious to see how he would come out last night. And nobody else, everybody else on that team, I think you're kind of expecting to play well, who did. But yeah, Benner was a curiosity, I think, for a lot of people, just because he hadn't played last year and had been a year off, and I think had been spoken highly of by Kaufman, Wren, and some of the others on his team, but we hadn't really seen him do it in an actual game. So, it was good to see him get off to a pretty good start last night.
Yeah. Why did he not play last year?
I mean, I think it was just mostly they just didn't need him.
That's what I thought.
So yeah, I think that was the plan. Even coming out of high school, they were pretty honest with him up front about redshirting his freshman year and being ready the next year. And he did have some injury stuff too, I know, throughout the summer of that year that probably kept him from getting into the mix. But I think it was pretty much the plan all along, was to most likely to have him redshirt that first season coming out.
Yeah, now we got college basketball going, high school not far behind that. But before we get to there, the Indiana high school football playoffs are rolling now, and I talked earlier in the week about that after this weekend. But a lot of big games, but more big games coming up this weekend as the regional. No, this is the sectional championship, right? Or was that?
Yeah, it is sectional championship night.
Okay, so we've got a lot of teams that will be eliminated by the time this weekend ends.
Yeah, it's already it's funny doing predictions, getting the predictions I do every Thursday together. It's like, man, where's all the even now we've lost quite a few teams going into this week. So yeah, even more so, it's kind of the cut down becomes pretty dramatic at this point, but there are some great. I mean, this week, probably last week and this week, two of the best weeks of the season, I would say. And regionals are great too. And every week at this point is you're going to have great games. But man, especially this coming Friday, feels like there's so many games that have sort of been anticipated throughout the season that we're going to see on Friday night. Like Cathedral New Pal. I mean, this is 1 versus 2. Probably I don't think it's unfair to say the state championship could definitely be on the line when those teams play Friday. Cathedral, typically they play such a tough schedule, you can kind of throw their record out the window and not even think about it. They're 7-3, but that doesn't really matter. New Pal, of course, 10-0 and has just been crushing everybody around. They were up 42-0 on Plainfield last week, and Plainfield's a top 10 team. So it'll be a lot of people there, a lot of curiosity about that game. Westfield Carmel's another one. That's a rematch of an early season game that Carmel won pretty handily and kind of signified their coming out, a little bit, just as far as, the new coaching staff, new coach Kevin Wright, and, I think staked their claim to be one of the best teams in the state that night. And so Westfield gets another shot at them. Roncalli Chittard, always a huge rivalry up here. So a lot of Crown Point, Penn, up in the north, East Noble, Dwenger is a great game up in Fort Wayne area. So you can just go up and down the whole state, and there's great matchups on Friday.
Yeah, Fort Wayne, Evansville, you got a lot of great 5A games, 4A games, 3A games, just all the way down through the classes. A lot of great games. And,
Heritage Hills Jasper will be great crowd too. That'll be a great one.
What a matchup of styles, different styles, I guess I should say.
Yeah. It's there's just a lot of and a lot of these teams are rivals. That's what you kind of get in the sectional is teams that have maybe played each other or normally see each other this time of year. There's a lot of schools. That it's regional rivalries in this round a lot of times. So not always the case. Sometimes you have kind of weird matchups or a little bit more spread out, I would say. But, there's a few around that, are a little bit that way. It's kind of, Lawrence Central, Decatur Central is a matchup you don't, normally think of, but that'll be a fun game, a high scoring game. But then you have the Mudsock rivalry, HSC and Fishers, playing each other. Those teams seem to play every year twice. Avon Brownsburg's another county rivalry, Hendricks County. Triton Central LaPel has been a great series. These teams hadn't met until last year for about 9 or 10 years, and then they've been two of the best teams in our area in 2A. So a lot on the line, obviously, but yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, I can't wait. Hopefully the weather, I think, looks like it's supposed to rain maybe during the day and then clear off last I saw. So hopefully that doesn't affect anything as far as the fields go and keep people away. But yeah, it's you can't miss with a lot of these games.
Yeah, and there are going to be a ton of fun section. So the sectional and regional championships sometimes are some of the best games in the entire tournament, it seems like. But that could be said for a lot of things. But man, that's why you go now. Some of the best games are going to be played right now in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, another thing to watch is Miles McLaughlin from Knox, and he broke the all-time rushing record last week, the state rushing record.
As a quarterback, how the hell do you do that as a quarterback?
Well, he runs more than a running back, so that's
he doesn't give the ball up. I guess that's how he's a quarterback, and he gets the ball first, and he's like, "The hell with you, I'm keeping this rock."
Well, and it works. It works really well. They haven't lost yet, so whatever they're doing, I had a chance to go up there and watch him practice, and it's like a zone read, but he'll ride the running back, and then obviously a lot of times he's keeping it and reading, and it is pretty. It's kind of an intricate deal that they run there. I mean, you would think defenses would kind of just collapse on him and make him make it hard for him at the point of attack, but even the best teams they've played haven't been able to slow him down. Griffith was a really good team last week, and he just and he runs a lot. I mean, he carries the ball a lot, and he does throw a little bit, not much, but yeah, he's it's cool to see. Derrick Henry actually talked about him yesterday on Kay Adams' show. He's the all-time national rushing leader going back to 2012 in high school. But he said he saw some clips and he's hoping Miles breaks his record. So that's pretty cool of him to say. But yeah, if they make it to Lucas Oil for the state championship, he'll have a chance. If he's at his current pace, he could break it in that game, which would be a really cool thing.
Yeah, that would be that's wild, but a lot. See, in 6A, who's what's the team that you see as a shocker, a potential shocker?
I'm sorry, that's still playing now. That could
advance.
Lawrence Central's probably that team. I think a lot of people had LM.
Yeah, that was a big time upset.
Yeah, and the way it happened, they recovered a fumble on the last play of the game in the end zone. And there was some controversy as far as I know people always think like what they see on TV in the NFL is, is how high school rules are, but it's not. So you can advance a fumble in high school football, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, you just can't advance a punt. That's all.
Yeah, he didn't fumble on purpose. He got the ball knocked out, and luckily for LC, I mean, they had Albert Gooden was standing there all alone in the middle of the end zone to recover it. So, so you wonder about teams like that. I mean, they have a really tough game against Decatur Central, which they were the 5A champion last year. But if you can beat Lawrence North, I think you can beat a lot of teams in 6A, including Decatur Central. So I think they have a little bit of a magic going on, I would say, after that win. And you win a rivalry game like that. You also wonder too, do you have a letdown or do you sort of be happy with that? But they haven't won. They haven't won a sectional title since 2012, and they actually won state that year. So it's been a while. So I think a lot to play for in that game. And I don't think that's really would be a huge upset if they did beat Decatur. Some of the other games I'm curious about, like Avon Brownsburg. Avon played Brownsburg really close last time they played. They're a talented team on both sides of the ball. I think they have the personnel to, potentially pull that upset. I would be surprised, but that's a game you could see, come across, on Friday night on Twitter or whatever and see it and be like, oh man, Avon's winning, and it wouldn't be I think it would stun a lot of people, but knowing what they did last time, I think that would be a game maybe to watch. Franklin Central, Center Grove, maybe an outside chance of that being a potential upset. Obviously, I talked about Cathedral New Pal. I don't think that'll be a, necessarily a huge upset either way, but a game to track for sure. But, there are I think some matchups that are just going to be lopsided. Now, that's kind of how these things normally go. It's somewhat based on the draw that you get, and some teams don't have to do as much to get to this round. But for the large majority of these matchups, they look really good on paper. I think there's going to be some really good games played, and some games that are pretty even that could go either way. But yeah, I mean, there are, I would say, maybe another one could be Whiteland, East Central. Whiteland's been playing really well here of late. East Central's kind of been a power, but they're also playing up in 5A after the success factor moved them up. So they're actually a 4A team playing 5A. So, I think Whiteland will have a chance, especially they're playing at home for that game. So that should help. And that's one of those that the schools are kind of spread apart in that sectional. So getting the home field for this round, I think, will be beneficial for Whiteland.
Yeah, and several games, great games in 5A, man. A lot of attention at 6A, but there's several games throughout the entire day or throughout the classes. But how about my Highlanders, man? They just destroyed Castle on the road. Now they get to host another Evansville school as Evansville North will come in.
Yeah, that was one of the big surprises, I think. Just maybe not that Floyd won, but that it was that lopsided. Castle's always good. So, I think that kind of sent a message that Floyd Central has a quarterback named Jack Mole, who he's having a really good year, and he was really good in that game. He was 15 for 16 for 264 yards and 3 TDs in that game. And that was all in the first half. They had a running clock at halftime.
Wow.
So really got a chance to rest, and that's obviously good. Evansville North is a good team. They play a really tough schedule. Evansville area kind of known for good football, and they played a tough schedule. So I think they'll be ready. The only losses they have are to Evansville Memorial and Wrights. And Memorial, man, they lost last week, so they're out. They're probably one of the better teams that's out. They lost to Gibson Southern. That was a 1-2 matchup in 3A. So that, one of those teams had to go home. It turned out to be Memorial. But, yeah, so a couple of these teams had real chance to maybe be a state title contender. And Memorial, certainly one of those that is done for the season already.
Let's see, looking down through here at, a lot of Fort Wayne action. Fort Wayne teams are all teams up north: South Bend, St. Joe, Mishawaka, East Noble, Fort Wayne Dwinger. I love all of these old school rivalries. Ron Colley, Chittard, Bedford, North Lawrence, and Martinsville. That'll be a slugfest. Heritage Hills and Jasper, you mentioned that earlier. I mean, these are Gibson Southern at Mater Dei, Scottsburg at Indian Creek. Just a bunch of good games, no matter what the class is, man. It's just fun football. And some of the lower classes, man, do they score the ball. And you can see some wild stuff in those lower class games.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think there's going to be some good ones. We kind of maybe forget about 1A, or we don't have a lot of teams in 1A around here. So in our immediate area. So not that you forget about them, but it's fun to see what those how those and 1A this year has been really balanced. I think we've had like probably 6 different number 1 teams throughout the season in our state poll that we do. So it's been interesting to see how that shakes out. I think Providence, they may still, they beat Springs Valley last week and they're the defending champ, but they do have a lot of different players from last year. A lot of seniors graduated. So, they may still be the team to beat, but I think this is going to be that class it's going to be fun to see who ends up making it to the state title game, because there's just a lot of different teams that have kind of handed off number 1 throughout the year. It's been a kind of a jumble and a lot of little public schools that are having good seasons. So yeah, I think some chance for some teams to make it who maybe haven't done that before.
Yeah, and that's what makes it exciting. Get some fresh blood in there, man. But it's always a fun time as we head closer and closer to the state finals. Thanksgiving weekend, always the tradition. So, man, you got a lot of work headed your way over the next few weeks, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, there's just a lot of basketball stuff. We'll start putting stuff out for the boys next week, which is hard to believe that we're almost to that point. But yeah, practice starts on Monday, so we're getting there.
Yeah, college started already. Games, it seemed like there were 1,000 games last night, Kyle. As I was looking through the scores, I mean, I was like, who didn't play? It was more like it was easier to ask. Indiana opens up tonight at home against Alabama A&M. So it's getting going all over the place. Crossover season, as we call it, but the high school football season coming to a fun close. Make sure you're giving Kyle a follow. What's up next for you?
Just like you said, a lot of basketball, football crossover. I've got a story tomorrow on the 1987 New Pal Cathedral game that kind of started, in some ways, New Pal's run. It's kind of just a big program win that they had at that point. So that could have been kind of a fun story to talk to people about. But yeah, just we'll have a lot of basketball stuff next week, and of course a lot of football too. So just a real busy time.
Did you see the story about the Florida football player that was arrested for an in-game incident?
No, I missed that one.
An incident occurred during a Florida high school football playoff game on Friday, led to police securing an arrest warrant for an 18-year-old player. On Tuesday afternoon, the Fernandina Police Department has an arrest warrant for Bell High School player who struck a Fernandino Beach High School player at the end of a play Friday night. Video captured the two players getting into a shoving match. What are we doing here? I mean, how do you single that out?
Yeah, that seems like there's more to the story there. So
probably is. We'll see. But appreciate you, my brother. Make sure you're giving Kyle a follow. Enjoy your weekend.
You bet. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
You bet. Kyle Neddenriep joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Reading more about this thing in Florida. There were a pair of Fernandina Beach officers working at the game who helped gain control of the situation. Per the report, Fernandino Beach PD then escorted the Bell bus and players off Amelia Island. Oh, this was on Amelia Island? Holy smokes, that's a high rent district down there in Florida. On Monday, the Nassau County School District issued a statement praising how the Fernandino Beach team handled the situation. The incident at the conclusion of last Friday night's football game, blah, 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 pulling a player's helmet off and striking him in the head with the helmet. Oh, that's bad. Well, yeah, that's bad. So he ripped his helmet off and then swung it at him and hit him. Well, that's probably attempt. Who knows? I mean, is that a deadly weapon? The incident at the conclusion of last Friday night's football game between Fernandina Beach High School and Bell Senior High School, involving a Bell player pulling a player's helmet off and striking him in the head with the helmet, has been reported to the Sunshine State Athletic Conference for investigation. So they're going to do more about it as well. But wow, craziness. So yeah, that's nuts. I'm watching a video of it now, and yeah, I think he hit him in the face with it, and then he immediately dropped it. But hey, man, yeah, I've never heard of such a thing. Rough deal, but the sands of time continue to roll on. Yes, they are hard and they can kill. Trust me, I know, man. They are hitting it. It is battery, but you never see that. I mean, we've seen that happen in the NFL. As a matter of fact, I can't remember. I remember distinctly, it may have been last season that happened. I'm sure it's happened at the college level. But there we go. So we'll see. But lots of games this weekend, man. Friday night. I know a lot of you are not heading out to Happy Valley. So go out to a local high school game. If you're in the Indianapolis area, man, you can't swing a dead cat without finding a good game. Crown Point at Penn up north for our folks up in the region. You got Crown Point at Penn. Over in Fort Wayne Northrop at Carroll, which is Fort Wayne. Westfield's at Carmel, Hamilton Southeastern at Fishers, Avon at Brownsburg, Decatur Central at Lawrence Central, which that should be an easy win for Decatur. Southport at Warren Central, Center Grove at Franklin Central. My Highlanders hosting Evansville North. How about this? Bloomington listeners, Bloomington North at Bloomington South, 7 p.m. Boy, you think that'll be packed? Yeah, it will be. East Central goes to Whiteland Cathedral. Is that New Powell? Man, that'll be a game. Lafayette Jeff at Kokomo, Concord at Fort Wayne North, Michigan City at LaPorte, Munster at Murrayville. Got action all over our listening area. Lowell at Hobart, the Brickies. South Bend St. Joe at Mishawaka, East Noble at Fort Wayne Dwinger. Fort Wayne, a lot of teams. A lot of Fort Wayners. Our folks up on the 1380 The Fan, you got all kinds of high school action going on. Yorktown at Pendleton Heights. Ron Colley at Chittard. Bedford North Lawrence at Martinsville. That's just old school. That's an old school fist fight, as I call them. Heritage Hills at Jasper. Woo! Another Fort Wayne Lures at Miss what do you say, Massinawa? Garens at Cascade. Scottsburg and Indian Creek. Gibson Southern at Evansville Mater Dei. That should be one. Plenty to get to this weekend. Go out and watch yourself a high school football game before the big games come up. We'll take a break. Lots more. We'll talk about plenty of college football and the trade the Colts made. Sauce Gardner. What does that do? Great. I think that's actually a great trade for the Colts. I know they gave up 2 first-rounders, but that says they're planning on winning. Now that they have the pieces to win now, they don't need to develop at the moment. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Wednesday. Glad to have you along. As always, I hope everything is going well for you. And it's certainly going well for us. Looking forward to another fun weekend. Indiana opening up play tonight in basketball as they will be taking on Alabama A&M, which yeah, little starter. That's all it is. You give it to that. But game 2, they go after it. They go to Chicago and play a Marquette team that will probably be pretty decent. It's going to be a heck of a challenge. You want to find out early what Indiana can do, and I think that the Marquette game will be a good litmus test for them. Not only that, it's an opportunity for Indiana to do something it hasn't done in a few years. Get a quality win in the non-conference. Does it happen? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. But this team is so I don't know what they will are going to be able to do, and we'll certainly find out on Sunday rather. And I think that. I think they're going to surprise some people. I really do. I've said this. I think they're going to win some games they're not supposed to win, but they're definitely going to lose some games because they don't have everything that they need as far as height challenged. I guess you would say that. Yeah, they're just a little bit height challenged. But they're making up for it in other ways defensively. How they work the offense. It is not your typical offense. It's not what you've seen before. That I can promise you. But Darren DeVries did meet with the media ahead of this game. Let's hear what Darren had to say. Of course, and here in a second.
Hey, doing great.
Awesome. I think you said last night this is year 28, right? Are there traits you can see with the team you have that are kind of unique traits?
Yeah, I mean, every team has kind of its own identity, in its own way. But I think this team, at least to this point, now we haven't played many games. We've had some exhibition games in Puerto Rico, but this team has a really good feel for kind of our motion offense and have really shared the ball well in practice. And I'm excited about that as we continue to grow as a team and play. Some more games. The way these guys have shared it and moved it has been really impressive in practice.
We'll go Alex and then Mike Schumann.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Appreciate it. I'm just curious. I was looking just from watching the Baylor exhibition and kind of looking through some of the stats. And Tucker and Lamar, I think, combined for 9 assists, and 5 of those were to each other. It seems like those two in particular have had pretty good chemistry. I'm curious if that's something you've noticed as well, those two playing together, and where does that come from?
Yeah, I think those guys do play well off of one another for sure. I think we have multiple guys that do. I think Tatum's done a really good job as well. And we just had practices last week. One day he had 13 assists, 1 turnover. The next day it was 10 assists and 2 turnovers. So I think those guys all play well off of each other. And Lamar and Tucker, they're a little unique just because of their ability to, screen for one another and set each other up for, flare opportunities and stuff. So I do like the chemistry that those guys have so far.
Mike and then Pete.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask you about the 2 Puerto Rico exhibitions and the Baylor game. The common denominator there seemed like you guys came back from big deficits, and it seemed to me like the defense is what really kind of flipped the script in those games. I'm curious, do you agree with that? And how much of that is like, those games not being scouted to where you kind of had to figure out in game what teams were trying to do versus you guys just needing to be better at the start of games?
I would say it's a little bit of both. I would actually lean more towards us just being a little better, a little more connected defensively. I thought in the second halves of all three of those games you mentioned, we were a lot tougher on the ball. We were a lot more physical. Even we were a lot more disciplined. Sometimes you think being aggressive, being tough, being physical is just denying everywhere and getting all spread out. And I thought what we did a good job of was increasing our physicality in those games, but still remaining, with some gap discipline when we needed to and protecting one another. So more of a, 5 versus 5 defense instead of just a one-on-one defense.
Pete and then Ravi.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. What are the 2 or 3 things you're hoping to see from tomorrow night's game? What really intrigues you to see what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think number one is we just want to, set the tempo, for both sides of the ball for full 40 minutes. We've talked about just, the 3 games we got behind. You can't put yourselves in those positions over and over again and expect to be successful. So we got to put a better full 40 minutes together and specifically a better first half, getting off to a better start. And that's going to be huge for us all year. But that's probably number one. Getting off to a good start, and then just play how we've been practicing. That's probably number 2, just making sure that ball continues to move. We get good player movement as well as the ball movement on the offensive end, and then defensively, just being connected and being physical and being tough.
Thank you.
Ravi and then Niz.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to get your thoughts. If Nick Dorn is available in the opener, just what are some lineup options he gives you guys, and not just about the opener, but just as he becomes more integrated into the lineup, his minutes increase and all that?
I think the greatest thing with Nick is he can really shoot the ball. So he just gives you automatic floor spacing. I don't, really get into kind of what position he's at particularly out there, but he's just out there. And he's another guy that can go get 3, 4, 5 in a row, and we've seen that in the short period of time he's been practicing. He's just one of those guys that has an extreme confidence in his ability to shoot the ball, and he gets it off fast. He's a big guy. He gets he's tall. He gets it off, and like I said, when you got that type of confidence, that's a big plus for us to have him out there.
Niz and then Trevor.
Yeah, Darren, if you had a chance, I mean, I know it's been kind of a whirlwind, 7-8 months, just to reflect now with the opener here, what this means for your kind of coaching journey and kind of be on the stage now and the it being here.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I know our players are excited, but I think myself and our staff would be kidding if you didn't recognize the significance of your first regular season game in Assembly Hall, and we can be more pumped up to get out there and showcase what our team's been working on and have them go out there and play the way that we expect them to. So we're excited as a staff, we're excited as a team, and ready to get rolling.
Trevor and then Quinn.
Yeah, Darren, you mentioned establishing the tempo tomorrow night. It seemed like it was a little bit slower against Baylor. Was that the defense kind of dictating that, the Baylor defense, or something else? And then how do you kind of judge the tempo and pace that you want to be at and for each game?
I think there is a combination of factors. We've talked about our depth right now is, we got some guys on the sideline, so we weren't able to go as deep as we would like in a rotation standpoint. I think the second piece is sometimes when you think about tempo and pace, it can be a little misleading. A lot of times our tempo and pace is, we want it off of turnovers, we want it off of missed shots, and we want to be incredibly aggressive in that space, where there is a broken floor and you have an opportunity to attack a defense before it gets set. A lot of times off of made baskets, that's when you get a little bit more into your possessions. But, if we don't get something in those first, 10 seconds that we like to really get and be in attack mode, then we're going to run offense and get into our motion and really move it and share it. And so you can play incredibly fast at times, but have your tempo, the pace of play be a little bit slower at the end of the game. So I think it was a combination, a little bit of our depth that you could tell we didn't have our game legs under us quite yet as that game wore on. And then also just, I thought there were moments there, especially when we made our comeback and kind of started to build that lead where our transition game was a big piece of that.
Quinn and then Dalton.
Yeah, in regards to lineups, both in what we've seen in the exhibitions and moving forward in non-conference, how do you balance trying to put in new looks versus kind of keeping a one group in there and letting those guys gel and get comfortable with one another?
Yeah, that is a little bit tricky, especially early in the year when everybody's kind of learning new things anyway, and then you have some injuries happen, and now guys got to learn multiple spots and positions and things. So we try to be pretty specific on game day about, hey, here's the things we're going to run. We have more things that we can run, maybe out of a timeout that we can go to and really put guys in the spots in case they don't know. But when the guys are out there, we try to keep it, to a smaller group of plays that, this early in the year that they're most comfortable with.
Dalton and then Zion.
When you hired Nick Norton back in 2021, what kind of attracted you to him coaching-wise, and then how valuable has he been moving with you to West Virginia and then here to Indiana?
Yeah, Nick's been terrific. Yeah, I think he's one of the great young coaches out there. And, he was, someone I had recruited out of high school. He had come to play for us at Drake. So he's someone I have known for a long time, have a great relationship with him, have a really good feel for kind of his demeanor and his rapport that he has with the players. And he's just one of those guys that comes every day with great energy. He has a, terrific understanding of what not only I want, but what we want as a staff, because he was a player and a coach. So he understands all that. But I just love the energy and enthusiasm he brings to the table every day. Like he doesn't have any bad days. And I think our guys have a lot of respect for him and the way he approaches it.
Zion and then Zach.
Yeah, Darren, you talked about just the slow starts, whether it be in Puerto Rico or against Baylor. When you see something like that before the season even begins, how do you kind of try to make sure it doesn't become a constant trend with your team going forward?
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's hard to figure out, why or, whatever it may be. In a lot of those games or all three of those games, it was more kind of in the middle part of the first half, where some of those leads really grew. So, that's something that, we'll keep an eye on. I don't think you want to overreact, when you have, some different circumstances, especially with the Puerto Rico games. But the Baylor game is one that, we certainly didn't have any of those outside factors. We treated it like a regular game. We prepared like a regular game. So, we had a stretch there in the middle of the first half where that lead started to get away from us. So it's something we'll look at, see how you can try to prevent it and things. But there were certainly a lot of areas that we could clean up that led to, that lead that I thought we did a good job of fixing in the second half.
All right, we've got time for one more. Zach Browning.
Hey, Coach, you talked about kind of what Sam brings as far as his physicality is concerned, but what other things does he bring to this team that doesn't necessarily show up in the box score every night?
Just his energy and enthusiasm. I think Sam, plays the game, with a little fire in his belly. So that's fun to see. That energy, enthusiasm, that joy for the game is something that's contagious. And, that's one of those that doesn't show up on a stat sheet that as a coaching staff, I know we really appreciate about him.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana. Best football sports bag reading. How are you doing? How's everybody doing? Zach Browning joining us as well. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
Good, Jim. How are you?
Cannot complain. Heard you on the last question there to Darren DeVries. I was not aware of that presser. I did not get the memo, I guess. So missed out on that one. But tonight, Indiana taking on Alabama A&M to start their basketball season. We've got football season at full froth right now as well. We'll quickly talk about Indiana A&M taking on Alabama A&M tonight at Simon Scott Assembly Hall in their opener, which is good that they can squeeze that one in because on Sunday they've got a matchup with Marquette that will give us a good litmus test of this team.
Yeah, this is obviously a way to start the season. It's not kind of been like this the last couple of years for Indiana. Indiana going and playing a tough non-conference team this early in the season. You know, it's just the second game of the season. That Marquette game will be. But you look at this Alabama A&M team, it's not really a tune-up. I mean, this is a quality team in Alabama A&M, obviously a Division I opponent. They obviously aren't as good as Baylor or anything like that, but this is really Indiana's been playing for a while now. They've been playing with each other for a while now. You go back all the way to the summer. You get extra practices with that Puerto Rico trip. The Puerto Rico trip itself, you played some good competition and some exhibitions there. You've got the Marion exhibition under your belt, the Baylor exhibition under your belt. So Indiana, they've played a lot with each other. They've played a lot together so far this summer, more so than an average team has in the offseason. So while, yes, Indiana is one of, I think, 7 teams that has no returning points from a season ago, this is a team that, as Darren DeVries has said, as Connor Enright said on the radio show on Monday night, this is a team that has gelled together well and has come together well, and they all care for each other. And this is a team that is established in year one of the Darren DeVries era, what Darren DeVries called a good culture heading into the regular season. So that culture will be put on display. We'll see what Indiana looks like. We'll see the 3-point shots. We'll see the fast breaks. We'll see the up-tempo offense. We'll see what all of it looks like in the regular season. Games start to count. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And just to see those guys get out there and get after it. Really looking forward to Sunday's game against Marquette. Not putting the cart before the horse, but what will Marquette bring? What's the challenges Marquette will bring to this Indiana team, who we already know is a little bit height challenged, and that's where they're going to have trouble with teams, is when you have athletic guys that are athletic and have length. I'm not saying that that's Marquette, but other than that, I think this team can use its defensive prowess, its attacking offensive style to make life difficult for other teams. So it's they're trying to do things to make up for their deficiencies.
I think what Indiana has going for it, Jim, is that it's so versatile up and down the roster. You look at the Baylor exhibition, sure, it's an exhibition. Take what you want from it. It's an exhibition, yes, but Indiana won that game, and Baylor is one of the more athletic, one of the longer teams that Indiana will probably play this season. The Big Ten doesn't mix a lot of length with athleticism. There's a lot of height and length in the Big Ten, but not a lot of length and athleticism and height all rolled into one, and that's what Baylor had. Baylor has a potential top 10 pick on the roster in Tunde Yesufu, and Indiana still won that game. Yes, it's an exhibition, so you got to take it with a grain of salt, but Indiana has the versatility to match up with people. They have the versatility to match down with people. They have the versatility to kind of mix and match their lineups. You can go Reed Bailey and Sam Alexis on the floor at the same time if you want to go quote unquote big for Indiana with a 6'10 and a 6'9 player out there. You can go smaller if you want to have just one of those bigs out there. You can go even smaller if you want to just throw a guy like Trent Sisley or a guy like Tucker DeVries at the quote unquote 5 and play some positionless basketball in that sense. So I think what Indiana has going for it is the versatility where they can do a lot of different things. If you're getting destroyed inside and need some bigger coverage, need some help in the paint, need some help on the glass, bring in Sam Alexis, play him alongside Reed Bailey, go tall, go big with some of those lineups. If the game's slowing down, if the pace isn't what you want, if you're Darren DeVries, go fast, pick up the tempo, put in a couple more guards. I think that's the versatility that Indiana's going to have to use. They're going to have to be like a chameleon this year, Jim. They can't necessarily go into any game with a set game plan and have to try and stick to that game plan night in and night out. If at one point in the game it calls for more shooting and you go 5 out and you go no Reed Bailey, no Sam Alexis, and you just go 5 3-point shooters and you push the tempo and you worry about defense kind of secondarily, maybe you're at a point in the game where you need to kind of slow things down. You did a little bit more rim protection with Sam Alexis. That's when you kind of can change lineups. So I think Indiana's going to have to be versatile with their lineups, versatile with how they play, and kind of switch things up on the fly. And I think that's why Darren DeVries has built the roster the way that he has.
Yeah, and we'll certainly find out how it gets going. Purdue, number 1 in the country, already with a win under its belt last night as college basketball gets in abundance with, like I said, it seemed like 1,000 games last night, but more coming up this weekend in Indiana. We'll be there to cover that as well. But before that, Indiana travels to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions in an effort to go 10-0 for the second consecutive season, and coming off of the heels of the first college football playoff poll released by the committee last night. No shocks there at the top. Indiana coming out at 2. There was some thought that, man, could they be number 1? Do they have a better resume? Yeah, I think that they do. But in reading the post meeting teleconference with reporters, one of the things that they mentioned was they watched film, and in watching film, they decided that Ohio State is better than Indiana, period. That they have a better offensive line, that their defense is a little bit better, which I don't know how you're really judging that. If you're going off there's the points, you're talking 3 points per game difference. So that's a weird comparison to me, but I understand not moving them. You know what? They're the defending champion. And so to take a king down, you've got to take him down, and they haven't done that yet. But obviously, it's the Big Ten and SEC at the top, Zach. Zach Browning from the Hoosier.com with me right now, with Indiana and Ohio State, along with Texas A&M and Alabama. Does it stay that way? We don't know, but this is the start of things, and a great start for Indiana, as this would give them a first-round bye.
Yeah, it's weird. The selection show beginning last night on Tuesday, it didn't mean a lot for a lot of programs. There's some teams that really needed to know where they were at, like Notre Dame. Notre Dame found out that they are probably going to make the college football playoff last night because if they're number 10 right now, they're not going to lose the rest of the year. So Notre Dame found out that they're probably in the college football playoff last night. If you look at Texas found out they are closer than some people might have thought. They have a little bit of ground to make up. Just keep winning some games. Texas found out where they stand. Miami, Florida, they found out where they stood. They probably are not going to make the college football playoff. But if you're the teams at the top, if you're Indiana and Ohio State, if you're Texas A&M and Alabama, last night really meant nothing. Their seasons, their seedings, where they're at in the college football playoff eventually will be determined on championship weekend. It'll be Indiana and Ohio State most likely in the Big Ten championship. It'll be Alabama and Texas A&M most likely in the SEC championship. And the winner of those games will get the higher seed between those two teams. If Indiana beats Ohio State, Indiana's going to be the number 1 team in the country, probably. If Alabama beats Texas A&M in the SEC championship, Alabama will obviously be ranked ahead of Texas A&M. That wasn't the case last night on the selection show. So for those 4 teams at the top, for Indiana, Ohio State, for Texas A&M, Alabama. It's all about taking care of business the last handful stretch of the season. Obviously, Texas A&M and Alabama have a little bit more of a difficult schedule down the stretch than Indiana and Ohio State does. Ohio State obviously can't lose to Michigan this year. That would not be good for the Buckeyes' case for the number 1 overall seed. But realistically, the buys, those 4 teams have separated themselves enough to where no matter what they do, if they make their conference championships, win or lose that conference championship, those 4 teams are probably going to have the buys, barring anything crazy from an undefeated BYU team that wins the Big 12. That's a conversation for another day, though. But those 4 teams have probably locked in the buys for the most part right now. It's just a matter of seeding them 1 through 4 based on how they perform in their respective conference championship games against each other.
Yeah, I've said over and over that if things hold serve and Indiana plays Ohio State for the Big Ten championship, the winner is number 1, and the loser would drop to only number 3 if they go into that game undefeated. I truly believe that. And then the same with the SEC. The winner and the loser will take 3 and 4, with the exception of wondering if, let's say, Alabama lost to Georgia. And I don't know that they hold on to that 4th spot, because that would be a second loss for them. And you'd have other SEC teams that didn't make the conference championship, though, that have a better record. We did see them move. They moved somebody last year down a few spots. And I think that Alabama might, or whomever, if it's, but both Georgia also has a loss, right?
To Alabama, yes. They've already played each other, Jim.
So that's right. I forgot about that. Alabama won at Georgia. If Alabama was to beat Georgia again, Georgia's not going to hold on to the 4th spot. So there's a possibility that the SEC, while still getting 5 teams in, doesn't get that 4th spot, depending upon what other teams in other conferences do. The Big 12 has looked BYU, for example. I believe they're still undefeated. If they finish undefeated, win the Big 12, I think that they might end up getting that 4th slot over the loser of the SEC, because that would be 2 losses for that SEC team.
And not necessarily 2 losses. If Texas A&M goes into that game undefeated,
Texas
they could be
A&M. I forgot. I was thinking Georgia. My bad. Yeah, I forgot about A&M.
But you're right. BYU kind of throws a wrench, but I also think that it was telling about BYU last night that they were, I think, 7th or 8th in the rankings. So being undefeated, sure, but it's still the Big 12. We saw there was not disrespect, but the most respect was given to, and the higher rankings were given to, the Big 10 and the SEC, which isn't a surprise. I mean, you saw how Virginia and Louisville were ranked. Those are the 2 best teams in the ACC, and those 2 teams were not given much respect. Those 2 teams were ranked behind Texas, if memory serves me right. So it's a situation where you're going to have another debate where maybe it's a 2-loss SEC runner-up against whose 2 losses are to Texas A&M and some other, and Alabama's other loss isn't great, but you're going to run into a situation where you could have a 2-loss Alabama versus the undefeated conference champion, Big 12 champion BYU. Who gets that 4th spot? Maybe it's not even, maybe you don't even want the bye. You saw what the teams with the buys did last year. Some of them struggled. Of course, Oregon was the number 1 overall seed with the bye.
Yeah, I didn't realize, Zach, that all 4 bye teams lost.
Exactly. So who knows? Maybe, obviously, this would never happen, and this isn't how the sport works, and this is not something that you can realistically do. But maybe Alabama doesn't really necessarily want to win that SEC championship. Maybe they're perfectly content with getting that 5 or 6 seed and not getting a first-round bye and having to wait like 3 weeks to play their first game.
Absolutely. Zach Browning from thehoosier.com. Make sure you're giving him a follow and being a subscriber to thehoosier.com. If you subscribe by the end of November and you let me know, you go in for a drawing for one of these beautiful Adidas embroidered thehoosier.com on 3 coats or pullovers, pocketed, and all of that. Zach, appreciate you, my brother. We will see you tonight at Simon Scott Assembly Hall.
Yep, Jen. Thanks for having me as always.
You bet, brother. Hey, thanks to each and every one of you
we've got to get going because there's lots of action tonight. Indiana taking on Alabama A&M. We'll be there for coverage and back here again tomorrow to get it all done. Appreciate you. Until then, I am Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.